Okay, I'm going to teach you today about 1 point and 2 point perspective. So let's get started. All right, so let's start off with 1 point and 2 point perspective. Here we go. Really, what 1 point perspective is, you have the horizon line, which is this middle one right here. The horizon line, essentially what that is the line that divides the earth and the sky. So what you have is the vanishing, the horizon line, the earth, the sky, and the vanishing point. That's where 2 points meet. Now you can have 1 point perspective frontal, which is this way, or diagonal, which is that way. But they're still both from 1 point perspective. In the case over here, the horizon line is higher, but nevertheless, here's the earth, here's the sky, here's toward more in the middle, here's the earth, here's the sky. So wherever they meet, that's the horizon line. And then the vanishing point could be at an angle like this or frontal. Here's one of the best examples. If you look at the bottom here, look at all these lines here. And not only that, but look at the sides buildings. They all go back to 1 point, which is the vanishing point. In the case of right here, here's another example. The horizon line, the earth, sky, vanishing point there. That's 1 point perspective. In this case here, we all know this painting, the screen. So you have 1 point perspective diagonal 1 point perspective, because it all recedes to 1 point over here. Here's the horizon line. We'll go that way. One of the most famous ones, here's Jesus, the Last Supper, Da Vinci's. And you have something like this. And then all the lines here recede to Jesus. So you see all the lines they go through. So as I said, these are examples of a 1 point perspective. The vanishing point. Now, 2 point perspective is when you have two vanishing points on the horizon line. So you have the horizon line that runs this way. You have the earth, the sky, and the earth, and the horizon line. Then you have 1 point here, and one vanishing point, and another vanishing point. That's why it's a 2 point perspective, because both points are on the horizon line. Here's another example, a 2 point perspective, which is this. And here you go. It shows it perfectly. It said this stuff you've seen before is just really simple. You just got to know the name for it. So as you said, this is 2 point perspective. We also have 3 point perspective. Now, 3 point perspective is you have 2 points on the horizon line, and then you have 1 point either on top or on the bottom. And by look at this, you have the horizon line down here. So you have the 2 points down here, one's over here, one's over here. Also, you have to understand that the points don't actually have to be on the picture plane. They can go off the picture plane, because if you look at it over here, look at this, it'll go this way. Look at this, it'll go that way. So it's really way off. But it's 2 points on the horizon line and then 1 point on top. The only way 3 point perspective works is two ways. Either you're at the bottom looking up, like the example here, or you're on the top looking down, like a bird's eye view. That's the only way this would work. So you have something like this. Here's it gives you a little more detail. Or you have something like this, which is from the top looking down. That's a bird's eye view. And so it's either 3 point perspective, either you're looking from the bottom up or from the top down. It's really hard to do. A lot of people don't do it. So that's a lot of people might not even, a lot of professors might not even teach it, but there you go. Now, one of the assignments that you guys have to do is the 1 point perspective. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, how am I going to do that? Well, if you don't want to be out there on the street, just do something like this. I did this. This is a picture of my parents' hallway, my parents' house. You can just sit at one end and then just draw it. 1 point perspective. It all recedes to 1 point. Horizon line, if you look at it, it's going to be around right here. And just make everything where both of these lines meet. That would be your vanishing point. So just go all the way straight. So it's going to be right around there, somewhere on there, and everything. So in other words, you don't have to go outside to draw this stuff. You can just do it, let's say a hallway, you can do it that way. be much easier. If you have a bigger house, well, then it'll be much easier. Smaller house, it might not be, but if you want, you can go outside and you can just sit on the side of the street, and then you can do it that way, a diagonal 1-point perspective. Let's say when we deal with 2-point perspective, here's another thing you have to do. Here's 2-point perspective. Here's the outside of my parents' house. Remember, it's the same thing as the other one. Here's the 1 point. 1 point goes all the way this way. The horizon line is going to be somewhere around here. 1 point goes this way, that way, and this way. So in other words, you got 1 point over here and 1 point over here. You can just do that when you're going to, because remember, you're going to have 2 assignments of 1 point and 2-point perspectives. So the 1 point, either you can do it inside and do a hallway, something like this, or the 2 point, you can just go outside your house or your parents' house or your grandfather's house or a rancho, I don't care, and figure it out like that. Really, I don't want you to be on the streets, so don't be doing it on the streets. I mean, unless there's no other way, then you just stand on the side. Don't get too close, don't get in the middle because you don't want to get run over. And that is it, guys.